Real quick before we start, I think there are certain things that you should know. The game was played on PC, and at the time of the recording of this video, it is an Epic Games Store exclusive. This is the standard edition of the game running on version 3.10.00. I have played both the previous games in the Hitman World of Assassination trilogy, but this review is only on the basis of new levels in Hitman 3, and every location was played at least twice. This review is completely based on my opinion and is completely subjective. That's it. If you enjoyed the video at any point, please be sure to like and share the video and subscribe to the channel for more content. This video did take a lot of work, so I would appreciate all the support I can get on it. And yeah, be sure to stick around till the end of the video to find out why Hitman 3 is almost perfect. We're gonna be starting with the amazing part, which is like 90% of this game, and then I'm going to be talking about why I put an almost in front of that perfect in this video's title. Let's start with the graphics and performance first. Now at this point, you have probably seen a meme or two about changes to 47's face.
Whoa! Holy shit! He looks like he's actually made out of rubber. Like he looks like one of my fleshlights here.
Now, I personally don't mind the changes to 47's face a lot, so for me personally,
it is what it is.
But for the rest, the game looks absolutely beautiful, whether it be textures on clothes or on the surfaces which you will paint with blood. There's actual physics attached to all the disguises you can wear in the game. Now, some items and places do look a little bit blurry when viewed up close, but that isn't going to be noticeable for most people as the camera isn't very close to 47. Every single location is just so gorgeous and packed. The indoor areas are very detailed with so many interactable items, about which we're going to be talking more in the gameplay section of this video. But the environments in these levels are what really steal the show, and the lighting is probably the main reason for that. The best part about the visuals is that they manage to look this good consistently, even when the game is constantly switching art styles with every location. Whether it's going for a golden glow look, this brown filtered autumn look, or my personal favorite, this neon art style in the level set in China. All the reflections, the color tone, the bloom, and the lighting, which is the main reason these areas look so good, combine to make a very pretty playground for you to murder people in. Now, while the NPC's graphics are okay at best in my opinion when viewed up close, the sheer number of them on screen sometimes is really impressive. Seriously, the only other game I can think of with this many NPCs on screen at the same time for so many sections is Assassin's Creed Unity. And just like Assassin's Creed Unity, you can blend into these crowds, so they do serve a purpose as well. But unlike Assassin's Creed Unity, these NPCs are actually solid and don't keep morphing into each other all the time. The performance was solid all around the board, and I did not notice any stutters or any areas where the frame rate drops for no apparent reason. I also did not have any crashes during any of my playthroughs. So I think it's safe to say that the game will consistently hover around the frame rates that your system can muster at the desired graphic settings. Let's talk about the audio side of things now. I love the music in this game, man. Maybe it's because it reminds me so much of the Mission Impossible series, whether it be menacing music with sinister vibes, or the orchestral beauties that are the mission completion scores. The music is well-fitting literally all of the times, and it gives this sense of scale and epicness to this game, pun intended. The sounds for most guns are mediocre at best, at least to my ears. Obviously, no sound is as great as the sound of me asking you to subscribe to the channel for more great content. Most of the sound effects of hitting someone with miscellaneous objects are also nothing special, but that's not a bad thing, as they don't feel out of place. Don't worry, he is alive. I mean, I think he is. The sound effects that confirm the completion of tasks are really satisfying here. The NPCs in the game have really good dialogues attached to them, and some even have stories that you will want to stick around to hear. Also, they're mostly on the funny side, so that's always a positive in my books. The NPC dialogues also have a gameplay element attached to them, so yeah, I'll talk about that in the gameplay section of the video as well. The voice acting of the lead characters is top-notch and iconic, though some of their dialogues are a little bit cliché.
Meanwhile, the plan stays the same. Your destination is the Scepter, the world's tallest building where the partners are laying low, courtesy of their host, Sheikh Omar Al-Ghazali.
47 himself doesn't speak unless it means business, but when he does, his lines are just some of the best written self-aware dialogues in any game ever.
A great tragedy has fallen upon us, and I need a quick resolution, handled with absolute discretion.
Results and discretion are my speciality.
So dark, so uncomfortably funny, no lies whatsoever, and it's almost as if 47 is just one frame away from winking at the player while saying lines like these. I love that the developers know the goofiness that the players are gonna cause, so they become a part of it and embrace the humor. Now, I did have a similar bug to Video Game Donkey where the audio just says and goes nuts after you kill a guy. Jesus Christ, I hit this guy so hard the game's audio broke. Yeah, by the time you're watching this video, this might have already been fixed. Let's talk story now. Now, I don't think anyone plays Hitman games for the story, but in my personal opinion, the story in this one is actually kinda nice, even though it has a lot of cliches. It is a direct continuation from the previous games, but you don't really need to know about the plot in the previous games to enjoy this one. But then again, if you do know the story of the previous games, you're gonna like it a little more as you're already familiar with these characters introduced in the past. Unlike the previous games, Hitman 3 has actual cinematic moments, and thank God actual cutscenes are back.
37. It's time.
I absolutely hated those stupid half-baked exposition dumps in Hitman 2, and I don't know why. In my opinion, Hitman 3 is the only game in this World of Assassination trilogy where I feel like there's actually a motivation and purpose behind killing the targets. And now, finally moving on to the best part about the game, the gameplay. Hitman 3 or any other game from this trilogy are some of the most fun and rewarding games ever made. You're left to prepare your loadout, and then it presents you with these huge, masterfully designed levels whose flexibility is hardly matched by any other games, and says go wherever you want and do whatever you want. There are so many ways every single assassination can play out, and it all depends on you. The more curious and unprecedented you try to be, the more fun you'll have. Now don't get me wrong, there is so much room for replayability here, even with the scripted mission stories that the developers put in the game. These stories are very cool most of the times, and you can get a few very satisfying playthroughs just by doing these mission stories. In addition to mission stories available to you from the start of the level, you can reveal more of them by listening to conversations.
Phineas Whitmer, the famous private investigator hired by Madame Carlyle this morning. I'm curious why he's here.
My personal favorite mission story is this one, where you have to go full knives out detective mode, examine clues, and interrogate people to figure out who's the killer in the family while you yourself are trying to kill someone in it.
Professor Edward Carlyle, can you tell me your whereabouts for last night?
Oh, yes, this dreadful business with Zachary.
But when you have had enough of these mission stories holding your hands and you start experimenting or doing your own thing, you'll realize that this game gets even better when you stop thinking about your rank and start thinking outside of the box to try different playstyles.
You got him, 47. Marcus Stuyvesant won't be a problem anymore.
It is a game that can be made better with every playthrough, and it's all up to you and how creative you are willing to be. I don't want to sound like I'm overselling the game, but there are so many possibilities here in every single level that basically your imagination is the only limit. Practically every way you can think of killing someone somehow works. The more you are aware of your surroundings and environments, the more opportunities you can form by using that amazing amount of interactability I spoke of in the graphics section of this video.
Carl Ingram finally gets what he deserves.
You can knock out or kill anyone with nearly everything you can interact with. You can access areas which would otherwise be restricted to you by disguising yourself in the appropriate outfit, even though whatever you wear, 47 just stands out. You're telling me that this guy looks anything like a chef? Or you can explore a little bit and find a different way to get to wherever you want to go. Now, because every risk is rewarded in the game, going in guns blazing is also an option, which more often than not though can get you killed. Don't get me wrong, it is fun to go full John Wick mode sometimes, but actually taking your time and plotting the assassinations in these incredibly designed levels, which I can't praise enough, is what really gets the gamer dopamine released. Even though the AI in Hitman is way more complex than in other games, there are so many ways to trick it by learning the patterns that literally all these situations can turn out to be funny in some way.
Hold it, mister! Multiple laser dots on your forehead, mister. That should tell you.
I can keep talking to you about how much freedom is given to you in this game, what you can do, and how fun it is, but if I did, this video would be too long to watch. So instead, I highly recommend that you watch this video called I Finally Understand Hitman by Leadhead, in which he only talks about just that and also explains how these games are just murderer simulators in a way. Watch that video after you finish this video though, okay, please. Now, it's finally time to talk about that almost in this video's title. Keep in mind these are minor problems when looking at the bigger picture, which most people won't mind. They are still worth mentioning. The first reason is This BS. I hate it when single-player offline games can't be played offline and lock major features like this behind an online wall where there is no apparent reason to do so. You have to understand that not everyone has a stable internet connection, not everyone can be connected to the internet all the times, and even the people who can be are not safe from power cuts and stuff like that. When even the scoring system, an important part of the replayability that unlocks different starting locations and items, is not available when you're offline, you know you f***ed up. Hell, you can't even access the locations and items that you unlock if you are not connected to the internet. It's just so annoying. The second reason is lack of innovation. Don't get me wrong, at this point in the video you already must be able to tell that the game is great, but so was Hitman 2, and this is practically the same game with 6 new levels, somewhat better visuals, and the only actual change here is the addition of a camera. And the camera isn't even that useful in most missions and approaches. Even the things like animations and a few sound effects which could have been worked upon are practically the same. This is why to some people this game will feel like a DLC rather than a full game, because of the fact that so little has changed from the previous game even though both games are great. I get the approach of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but come on, this was the final game in the trilogy, you could have added something noteworthy. Now at launch in my country, the price at which Hitman 3 Standard Edition is being sold at on PC on the Epic Game Store is equal to roughly $20, $19.44 to be exact, which is like an absolute steal for a game as good as this. And for like $29 you can get the deluxe edition here. But on consoles and also PCs in many countries, the standard edition of the game is priced at $60. If you do own Hitman 1 and 2, you can play those games as levels in this game remastered. Most people, including myself, would find the game worth it at $60 because of the things I said earlier in this video, as we are getting more of something that was already awesome. But because of this game feeling like an expansion pack if they have already played the previous game, for some people the full price is going to be a deal breaker. But in conclusion, as the final verdict, Hitman 3, in my opinion, is a game worth paying $60 for. It is so good, so fun, and it is 100% a true sandbox experience. The developers are also adding new free content in this game in the forms of contracts and stuff, so by the time you play this game, it might be even more awesome than it already is. I can't wait to see what IO Interactive does with 007 and what they have in store for our beloved Agent 47 in the future. So guys, this is pretty much it for my review or video essay on Hitman 3 and why I think it's almost perfect. This video took so much work, so every form of support, whether it be liking, sharing, commenting, or subscribing to the channel, would be greatly appreciated. It really lets me know that you guys enjoy these videos and motivates me to keep doing YouTube. So yeah, I'll see you later in another video. If you want to follow me on Instagram, the link is in the description. Till then, stay safe everybody.